Hey guys. Okay, so where we left this off last week, couple of updates. First thing is that I found a rebuilder here in the DFW area, company called Reassembling that had a good sense that they may be able to rebuild that alternator that I took off. So right now the GM alternator is plugged in, but I may not end up using it, and I may end up going back with the Rolls Royce alternator if this guy can fix it. You know, when I dropped it off to him, he knew it was exactly a cav alternator, and he seemed like he was fairly knowledgeable, and he also said that he had a spare one on the shelves that he could rob parts of, which I think is the most important thing. So you know, with that said, I think I'll, you know, if he can fix it, then I'll probably plumb that one back in and just continue using the original alternator. So last week when we were working on this car, well, I say we, I was working on this car, you guys were watching. Well, the fuel pump would run, and it would basically overflow the system and drain gas out the front of the engine, which is some kind of overflow. So it was either overpowering the carbs or the float balls were stuck. When it did start, it would run really badly. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to see if I can get these carbs taken off and just take a look inside them and see what's going on. I haven't taken these off in the past, so I don't know you know what they look like underneath. They could be gummed up. So I'll go ahead and do that, and then you know, you guys can watch, and hopefully we should have a better idea of what's going on. So, alright guys, so I'm not sure how well you guys are going to be able to see what's going on, but we're going to start with this carburetor first. I'm just going to undo the screws over here and remove the bell. See what we've got. This looks like. It's not my luck. I end up dropping the screw in front of all you guys and then look like an idiot. So what have we got here? Big old spring, right? This guy over here. Inside, it's actually very, very clean. So these carburetors are not in bad shape. So they're clean, but they've got zero oil in them. So I'm just going to clean. Alright, so this is like super duper clean. There's really nothing coming out of here that's, you know, in any way, shape or form nasty. Is the needle. Again, I mean, it doesn't look too horrible like that. It'll clean up a little bit, but nothing gruesome. Doesn't have any oil in it, so maybe that's why it's running like crap. It's got a little bit of carbon buildup. Be careful not to ruin. Well, it's a past car anyway, but in any case. Trying to pretend to be somebody who knows something about carburetors, but I really don't. So all I'm going to do is really, I mean, everything's pretty clean. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go and put this thing back, and I'm going to put it back, and then I'm going to fill the thing up with ATF, and hopefully it'll run a little bit better with, you know, with a little bit of fluid. Okay. Alright, so I have some automatic transmission fluid inside this thingy. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to fill it up. What is going on here? I have to be real careful about how I fill this up. This little bottle thing was underneath my 6.3, which has air suspension, and the 6.3 suspension collapsed. So as a result, I think I may have ruined this thing in the process. Alright, so I haven't taken this guy apart, but I'm going to assume it's got no oil in it. What a mess. Alright. I added ATF. So it's still, fuel pump's still running to the point that it's bypassing the floats and it's not cutting off. But goodness, it runs better now. They're a little bit of a lifter tick, but given that it hasn't run in so long, I'm okay with that. That might just go away. Boy, it runs a lot better, doesn't it? So, I was able to get it running, you know, by all I really did was just pull off one of the carburetors and checked the condition, you know, of the carburetor. Everything looked pretty clean inside it. It's just missing some oil, so I added oil. It ran for a little bit, and it ran pretty well, you know, considering the way it ran before. But then it would die out. So I'm not sure exactly what caused it and why it's doing that. You know, maybe it's fuel starvation. Maybe the float balls are still stuck. I'm really not familiar with these carburetors, but I may have to take them off and you know, there's going to be a not a tech session, but a gathering next week for the Rolls Royce Owners Club. So I know that there's a couple of guys over there that know these cars pretty well. So I'll ask them. They're not like the carburetors that I'm used to seeing, the SU carburetors with the float balls on the side. I think they may be underneath. But in any case, when I crank it now, I can feather the gas and get it to run okay, but eventually it will just die out. So I'm guessing that the float balls are still stuck. I took a little, small wrench and just tapped at the bottom of the carburetor to see if I can, shake things loose. Maybe it would work, maybe it doesn't, I don't know. But I'm going to try to crank it again one more time, see what it does, and if it doesn't, if it doesn't do anything more, then I'm just going to stop for this week and then get back going on it next week once I meet with these guys and get some kind of guidance. One more update while I'm doing some investigation. I thought I was done, but I'm not quite done yet. So here's the deal. When I start the car and put it in just the run position without cranking the engine, I can hear the fuel pump. So before I would hear the fuel pump, and then after about a few seconds, maybe about 20 seconds or so, I would start seeing gasoline start pouring down the bottom here, at the bottom of the engine, which I don't see anymore. At least I don't think I see anymore. No, I don't see it anymore. So fuel pump's been running though. I was under the impression that the fuel pump would run, and it will run for a few seconds until it builds up enough fuel pressure and fills up the float balls, and then it will shut itself off. It's not doing that. It's just constantly running. So I'm not sure exactly what's going on there, but it's been running for a few minutes. What appears to be going on is the car will run, and it will run fine up until the point that the float balls will run empty. So right now you can hear the fuel pump running. There's no fuel pouring out, so somehow I guess it's going to the carburetors, and it'll run, maybe for about a minute and a half. It'll run fine, and then it'll act like it's fuel starved. So I'm guessing that the fuel pump's not being able to keep up with the carburetors, and that's what's going on. I don't quite understand why that would, I don't expect the float balls to be that large. They should only basically take a few seconds to fill up, and then after that, it will just basically, the car will just run up what's inside the carburetor as the carburetor gets replenished. But right now, if I start the engine, it'll actually start and run pretty well, but then it'll die out. It'll start running out of gas, and then it'll basically eventually want to choke out and die. oil pressure is about in the middle. Alternator's not charging. So I'm guessing if I rev the engine up, I'll probably make it conk out. Well, there you go. You can start seeing it. See, now it's starting to run out of gas. And I'm going to cut it off. So you can see what's going on. So it'll run fine for a while. So I'm guessing it's using up all the gas that's inside the carburetors, inside the, you know, whatever it's got in reserves. And then eventually, it's the fuel pump doesn't appear to be keeping up with the car, and it's just basically starting to choke out. So there's two things that are going on, guys, that I need your help with. First of all, the overflow is not overflowing anymore, okay, but the fuel pump won't shut off. So there's something going on. It's either going straight to the bypass and going back into the tank, or something weird is going on there. Second of all, you know, you can see that basically it'll run just fine for a while, and then afterwards it'll just run out of fuel. You know, like it's running out of fuel. So clearly the fuel pump's not keeping up. Why is the fuel pump not keeping up? It may be because of that filter. That filter may be restrictive. I don't think so. You know, it would sound very implausible to me. But I have ordered a Wix. I think it's called a 3051 fuel filter. It was in the Rolls Royce substitute parts website. It looks like it'll fit straight into that filter housing, and it was a damn sight cheaper than the $45 that I saw on eBay for the Rolls Royce filters, or you know, whatever the Rolls Royce specialists were trying to charge for their filters. But in any case, here's where I'm at. Please give me any kind of suggestions and advices that you can give. I could really use it. Thanks very much, guys. Appreciate you.